On behalf of the DuraCube team and the panel today, welcome to the DuraCube 2026 product launch live viewing of this webinar. My understanding is that by viewing it does qualify for one informal CPD point. And what's really exciting about this panel discussion today is that it's not products that you can actually get on the market previously. These are genuine Australian first innovations. As Taylor mentioned, you can ask questions in the Q&A box that we will try to answer as many as possible at the end. But yeah, that's probably enough for the intro before we get started. So I'll hand back over to Taylor. Hello, and welcome to this special industry reveal. I'm Nick from DuraCube, and today we're doing something a little bit different. In April 2026, DuraCube is launching 4 Australian first innovations, but today isn't just about showing you those new products. It's about showing you the why and the how behind them. We've invited the very designers and consultants who helped shape these products, people who identified gaps in the market and worked with us to bridge them. Over the next hour, we're going to deep dive into the cultural storytelling in materials, the evolution of integrated hygiene, universal accessibility in the workplace, and the high-stakes world of elite sports joinery. We have an incredible lineup of expertise on the couch today, and I'd like to start by letting each of you introduce yourselves, your firm, the values that drive the work in the industry that you do, and let's start with the team from Blaklash. Erin, could you please tell us a little bit about Blaklash and the role you play in connecting country and culture to the built environment?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. So my name's Erin McDonald. I'm an Aboriginal woman, interior designer and associate director at Blaklash. So Blacklash's process is grounded in country-centred design. We engage with communities to embed First Nations narratives within the built environment.
Cool. Thanks, Erin, for joining us today. Jhanvi, you are an ACA accredited access consultant from Accessibility Consultancy. Could you tell us about your mission to move beyond simple compliance through to universal design?
Thanks, Nick. This is Jhanvi here. I'm the director at Accessibility Consultancy. I'm an accredited ACA consultant, SDA assessor, and livable housing design guidelines assessor. I have been working in the industry for over 18 years now, with a wide range of projects being done as in access related projects, which would commence from residential, commercial, industrial, childcare, and also a huge range of upgrades to existing building where they're required to be accessible. Thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome. Thank you. Ben, from our own team at DuraCube, could you please give us a quick snapshot of the DuraCube purpose?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. So as one of the founders, the reason we got into business was our vision was to elevate the circumstances of the people around us and the places where we live, learn, work and congregate. And day to day now we are seeking to eliminate complexity through systems that are durable for builders and specifiers so they can build better and faster.
Thanks, Ben. Well covered. And finally, Alana, as a qualified interior designer and a member of the DuraCube team in specifications, could you just run us through your process for how you support bathroom joinery design?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Alana and I'm a part of the specification team as a specification manager for DuraCube. So I've studied a Bachelor of Interior Design with Billy Blue College of Design, and that really gave me the foundation for spatial planning, materials and finishes. And honestly, commercial projects became a little bit of a passion project for me under studying that. So I try to sort of bring that design lens to DuraCube and sort of make sure that our joinery systems are not only structurally sound and compliant, but also sort of adhere to the design intent on any given project.
Thanks, everyone. It's that exact mix of cultural integrity, functional architecture, and accessibility that led to the 4 products that we're launching today. At DuraCube, our R&D process isn't just about sitting in a lab. It's a process of radical consultation. We take prototypes out to industry stakeholders, we listen to their pain points, and we refine until we have a solution that doesn't just look good in a render, but works on a site. Briefly today, we're unveiling a First Nations-led palette of compact laminate that brings country into commercial interiors, a patent-pending self-contained washroom system that houses the basin, dryer, and plumbing inside the cubicle for ultimate hygiene and privacy, a motorised height-adjustable solution for end-of-trip facilities that ensures everyone, regardless of mobility, has equal access, and a high-performance system designed for the rigours and prestige of elite sporting pavilions. So let's get started with it. We'll start with a project that is very close to our hearts at DuraCube, the First Nations range. Ben, we've seen the industry struggle for years with finding that balance between material and cultural authenticity. What was the specific aha moment or catalyst for DuraCube to step beyond standard manufacturing and proactively reach out to Blaklash to initiate this First Nations design?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. So DuraCube saw a need in the market and clients coming to us as they were trying to incorporate First Nations design into their projects, and they were trying to increase Indigenous participation in their projects. And we set out to try and solve this challenge for them and simplify it, remove the complexity, and that led us to partnering with Blaklash. As I said at the start, so that's the first reason we did it. As I said at the start, the other reason was with our vision to elevate circumstances, helping young people through school and getting a good education that helps them transition into the workplace was really important to the shareholders. So these merge of these two intents also led us to Clontarf Foundation.
You mentioned there Blaklash, and that'll probably lead me into where I'm going next. Erin, I might throw over to you. Can you share a bit about how the First Nations range has come about and what the collaboration means for the industry?
Thanks, Nick. So yeah, at Blaklash, it's always beyond the project and design itself. So we're always looking at different ways to create economic opportunities and impact for our broader communities. So aligning this project with the Clontarf Foundation connects to DuraCube's broader aspirations for this range.
Thanks, Erin. That's great insight. Can you talk us through the narrative of the patterns? So how does it connect the built environment back to country and Indigenous principles?
Yeah, of course, Nick. So shifting landscapes is the theme for the First Nations range, and it responds to the understanding of seasonal change, where each season is marked by indicators across land country, water country and sky country. These natural signs guide cultural practices like hunting, gathering, ceremony and the timing of cultural burns. So these Pacific seasonal shifts vary across different regions of the continent, reflecting the diversity of landscapes and ecosystems. They don't just inform daily life, they mark time, connecting contemporary First Nations communities to thousands of years of continuous observation and the relationship between people and the land.
My next question, for an architect looking to integrate First Nations designs into a project, why is the consultation process behind this range just as important as the final design?
Yeah, absolutely. So the First Nations collection specifications and timeframes for projects are getting actually shorter and shorter. So being able to offer this product on the shelf to the market alleviates that stress on specifications and design teams. So this product actually has been created with the right cultural intent, authenticity around this product. So by offering this to the market, it has that all encapsulated within this range and the consultation process. So we're really excited to have this being launched.
And how does a collaboration like this between like a commercial manufacturer and Indigenous creatives provide a sustainable model for supporting First Nations economies?
Yeah, absolutely. So this product's creating ongoing economic opportunities. So again, with the Clontarf Foundation, so it's providing that ongoing benefit. So, and we greatly see that impact an agency within communities and how they can distribute the wealth and money, how they see fit for their community or their organisation. Having this range out there really links to that, and it will start to create those benefits. And the ongoing piece is incredibly supportive.
That's great, Erin. Thank you very much. By facilitating this range, DuraCube has simplified the path to social procurement. So, Ben, how does every specification of this range contribute to your partnership with the Clontarf Foundation?
Yeah, so for those that haven't heard of Clontarf Foundation before, their mission is that they exist to improve their education, discipline, life skills, self-esteem and employment prospects of young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. By doing so, equip them to participate more meaningful in society. So it's a great cause. And out of every sale of the First Nations colour palette, 15% gets contributed back to First Nations organisations, which includes Blaklash and Clontarf. So it's 15% of the sale value of every square metre of compact laminate used in projects.
Moving over to the full height self-contained partitioning systems, I might throw to you, Alana, for a little bit here. How does the full height self-contained system support greater privacy and user comfort in gender neutral environments? And what are the specific NCC or Australian standard requirements for these systems?
Yeah, so FHSC sort of, I guess, includes visual and acoustic privacy, which obviously makes sure that every user that uses these facilities is comfortable and able to use it regardless of who else is in the facility. And it also reduces vulnerability as well. So that sort of means that there's less of an opportunity for this intrusive behaviour that we're sort of seeing out there, especially in schools and high-use commercial spaces. And that sort of means that there's less of an opportunity for this intrusive behaviour, which I think is definitely something that deters people from using these sorts of facilities. And then if we look a little bit broader as well, it sort of means that parents with children of opposite genders are now sort of comfortable to use these facilities. And it also means that people with medical conditions as well are definitely less exposed and also feel a whole lot more comfortable and at ease going into the facilities, especially when everything is included in that cubicle. And I think too, the NCC obviously has got the requirement as well for the gender neutral facilities to have full height partitionings as well. And that sort of is a higher level of privacy compared to the gender segregated bathrooms.
Yeah, fantastic. That's really good. So there's really a multi-layered reasoning behind the need for these systems in the market. That's really cool. Moving on to the next question, how does moving the washroom facilities inside the cubicle solve supervision and safety challenges that schools are facing in high traffic amenities areas?
Yeah, for sure. So traditionally, I guess in the amenities or the bathrooms in schools, there's definitely this process of you enter the shared space and then you go in and you use the cubicle and you're coming back out again to the shared space before you actually exit the bathrooms. Sure. And that's sort of creating, I guess, this blind spot for teachers and schools to actually be able to supervise. And it's something that they're really struggling to manage. So by sort of putting the basin and everything in, you're sort of really, I guess, encapsulating or wrapping up the experience for the students inside the cubicle itself rather than using these common areas. And that sort of means that teachers can then sort of supervise the common corridor, or they can sort of supervise a common hand washing station and stuff as well. And we're sort of seeing too, especially in school environments, those sort of common areas are really notorious for bullying hotspots. So by eliminating that, you're sort of, I guess, eliminating the congregation point of students of being picked on or humiliated for using the facilities by sort of wrapping that all up inside the cubicle itself.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks, Alana. From a facilities management perspective, how does FHSC support long-term maintenance and ease of access?
Yeah, for sure. So full height panels, I guess, distribute the load and the stress more evenly than a traditional sort of partitioning system in the school. So that sort of means that there's less of a maintenance sort of call out and definitely less of a demand for refurbishment more often as well. And by also encapsulating the plumbing and stuff inside the cubicle itself as well and hiding it, it means that it's not exposed and not gathering grime and dirt and stuff as well. So that obviously makes it easier for cleaning teams to go in and sort of have a pattern to clean each cubicle and sort of repeat that pattern. It sort of makes that experience a little bit easier for the cleaners, but also for the school as well. And the cost is obviously lowered as well for the maintenance and the ongoings.
Fantastic, thank you. Ben, integrating plumbing and electrical into a 13mm compact laminate system is a significant engineering pivot. How did you design access to ensure that maintenance remains simple for facility managers?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Nick. So we saw builders, architects all installing stud walls for the sole purpose of concealing plumbing, electrical, obviously occupying space in between cubicles as they tried to bring the hand basin into the cubicle. And it also created additional cost burden and length to programs. So we thought, why can't this be done better with using a compact laminate plumbing duct, conceal these fixtures, remove the complexity for the designer, and make it into a system that is also vandal-proof, obviously with locks on access hatches, locks on the cupboard underneath the basin where it conceals the plumbing. And then why not add some extra features like concealing the hand dryer and soap dispenser behind a mirrored cabinet, options not commonly seen in schools before. And then we also, after feedback from designers, said, why can't we also provide an option to include a cleaner's storage cabinet, because there's a common problem and we can solve it, bring some synergy to the solution.
Thank you, Ben. Moving over to accessible ironing station. So we're moving into the accessibility space. I'll hand over to you, Jhanvi. Often in end-of-trip facilities, we see standard ironing boards that create challenging usage for people with limited mobility. From a consultant's view, what are the critical height and clearance requirements for a truly accessible station?
Sure. So there are currently no Australian standards which would give us a design-related specific requirements for an accessible ironing board. So we pretty much rely on universal design principles and Australian standard 1428 part 1 to get more details out of it. Based on 1428 part 1, the reach range for a seated person in a wheelchair in a seated position would be somewhere between 750 to 850 mm, whereas somebody standing over would be typically between 900 to 1000 mm. Now, when we see it closely with DuraCube's accessible ironing station, it does align with the reach range that it is providing, that is between 750 to 1000 mm, which would typically take care of most of the users, including with and without people in wheelchair or mobility devices. So yes, the product does ticks off closely with what the user requirement would be. And additionally, the open front edge along with the knee toe clearance that they are offering is definitely an add-on, because anybody who would like to use the ironing board would have to wheel in their vehicle, which is where this comes from, and it definitely makes sense to have that in place.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's great. How do accessible controls and clear manoeuvring space contribute to making a height adjustable ironing board truly accessible?
Well, sure, we can do that by taking care of the design requirements that are listed in AS 1428 Part 1, which says that the controls typically of any adjustable height board needs to be between 900 to 1100 mm range. And it also needs to be simple operative mechanism, which is where you can use it by one hand without any pull, push or grasp kind of movements or jerking movements. The DuraCube's accessible ironing board does have this facility. It does gives a functionality where the user can actually just push a button and the height is adjustable along with that needs or user's needs, which definitely adds up to the value of the product, because ultimately the user feels confident to use the product. It can basically use it independently without anybody helping them, which adds value, and also the confidence of the user adds up to it. So I definitely recommend this would be a great start for the industry.
Beyond just ticking a compliance box, you mentioned that it was the push of a button that was actually maneuvering this product up and down for the user. How does providing height adjustable motorized equipment impact the sense of dignity and independence that the user would feel?
Sure. So height adjustable motorized equipments would be just not serving the purpose, or let's say not being just accommodative. It would basically give a greater access to the user. They would be able to adjust the height, the bench height or the ironing station at their own height capabilities, which would very well work with their body needs, a physical demand that a person in wheelchair would have, and that would enhance the use and also give the user a better experience of using it independently without asking for any help. So if you look at this with scenario in a workplace, then definitely it would be an add-on, because nobody likes to ask help and be independent while they are at work, and this is what exactly the DuraCube's accessible ironing station is providing them with: more dignified, equal access to the ironing station rather than just trying to call out other people looking for help.
Perfect. Thanks, Jhanvi. So it's all about that autonomy and being able to have the convenience, just being able to go in and do it when you're ready to, rather than sort of looking for somebody else and needing that support. Moving into the world of sport and rec. So we're talking about player lockers here, Ben. Could you please kick us off with where the inspiration for this product's come from?
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Nick. So the inspiration came from us seeing a lot of varieties, different ideas being documented, all trying to achieve the same objectives. And multiple designers, architects and construction firms all doing their own research, what the sporting codes require, and then talking to users, trying to work out what they require, often reinventing the wheel, coming back to similar solutions. Then some of these ideas not getting final detailing till the shop drawing stage, which was slowing down programs and holding up projects, incurring extra variation and costs at the end. So we thought, why can't we bring a solution to this, bring in some best practice, give people some best practice, at least as a starting block to start from, and then that would remove the complexity from it, make it simpler for designers, at least start the conversation with the user groups from some best practice groundwork.
Yep. Cool. So it's all about making it easier for those people working in the sports and rec environments. That makes sense. They are incredibly high wear environments typically. Why was compact laminate chosen over something traditional like timber or metal for the player lockers? And how does it handle the locker room humidity and the hygiene requirements?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. So this is, maybe I could throw this one to Alana, because you've had experience as a user in a community sport group playing basketball. Can you tell us a bit about what is important to users in the community sports, especially in the baboons?
Yeah, definitely. I think all different user groups sort of use them, whether it's in basketball, netball, or even in football as well. So these sort of facilities and the player lockers need to look good, but they also need to last for 10 plus years, because a lot of the time there's not grants or funding from these sort of community sectors to actually refurbish the amenities more often than that. And we're sort of seeing too that these facilities are also there for them to get changed, but also to strategize and debrief after a game as well. So the general chaos of these team environments sort of means that the materials need to be hard-wearing and tough and not just aesthetically appealing.
Yeah, cool. So that's what we did find out when we went through and spoke to user groups, did the research around this product. So that's why compact laminate, we set about designing the product so not only is it durable, but it's durable in the places that matter. So the compact laminate is in all the places that matter, and compact laminate, while higher initial cost at the initial stage, it does provide a durable product that stays looking good for a long time. So it does give that scratch impact resistance. So it doesn't have the edge tape that can come off with knocks and bumps that often occur from sporting groups where they've won or lost the game. When it comes to compact laminate and using it in sporting facilities and durability, we're talking about making things look good still 10 years after they were built. And that's very important, especially in a council, community, sporting environment where they only get one chance to do it. They need to do it well because they only get one funding grant often to build the facility. They don't get a second chance. So it's best to do it properly in the first place, and that's how you add value.
Yeah, that's great. So we've heard there how it applies in the design and construct space, but then also how it actually applies in the user application as a sporting player in a facility. Sporting teams, to that point, have a very specific gear needs, whether it be phone chargers in the lockers or ventilated under-seat storage. How flexible are these systems in terms of being able to deliver that sort of thing to the players?
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Nick. So to start with, we have put together 3 variants for this very reason. There's different sporting codes. One of the systems is specifically designed around Cricket Australia's community cricket facility guidelines, and that is to meet their requirements. The other 2 are based on feedback from sporting codes and professionals in those spaces. So they have been designed as best practice. However, there is opportunity to modify them, including to vary the dimensions. All the dimensions set out in this product material are based on best practice for both cost and practical use of them. However, there are options to vary, and you're best to do that in consultation with our team who can guide you through those processes.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the deep cultural storytelling in the First Nations range to the precision engineering of the integrated full-height self-contained cubicles, player lockers and accessible end-of-trip systems. If there is one takeaway from today's panel, it's that the next frontier of joinery isn't just about the material. It's about human-centric design. It's about creating spaces that are inclusive, functional, and culturally resonant. A huge thank you to our panel, Erin from Blaklash for guiding the cultural integrity of this launch, Jhanvi from Accessibility for reminding us why dignity through universal design is a non-negotiable. It's clear that DuraCube didn't build these products in a vacuum. They were built in conversation with these industry experts, which we greatly appreciate. Ben, you and the team have set a new benchmark here. By combining social procurement with patent pending innovation, you've given the architects and builders watching today a toolkit to solve their most complex project requirements without compromising on durability or aesthetics. Ben, on behalf of the panelists here, did you have any closing remarks that you'd like to leave the audience with?
Thanks, Nick. It's been really great to be here today and launch these products. I'm really excited to see them now getting used in projects in the community, in places where people work, where they go to school, where they do their sports and recreation. And thanks also to Blaklash and Accessibility for joining us on the panel, and look forward to partnering with you further to implement these projects and these products.
Thanks, Ben. For those of you ready to bring these innovations into your next project, all Revit families and technical specifications for these 4 ranges are live on DuraCube's free Specify portal now. You can request the samples directly through the DuraCube website or through your local specification manager. If you have a complex project, the DuraCube team is available for one-on-one design consultations to help integrate these systems into your floor plans. Finally, the April 2026 launch is officially live. Thank you for joining us at the first look of this next frontier of Australian joinery. We look forward to seeing these designs come to life in the future.
Good question.
Cool. I'm going to assume we're good to go across to the Q&A now. So I'll do so. Alana, I'll ask the first question of you. We've had a question come through saying, what is the pattern range name for the First Nations first 3 patterns that we're launching with this launch now?
Yeah, for sure. So they'll actually be called the Shifting Landscapes range, and there'll be 3 patterns within that range.
Cool. Thank you. Another question we've had come through. The colours in the First Nations range are stunning. If we want to use these on a project, are they available in standard lead times, or is there a longer wait for these specific patterns?
Yeah, sure. So unlike our standard stock range that we keep here at DuraCube, these products are actually made to order, so there will be a 10 to 14 week lead time. We do have large format samples available now on foam board, basically to see the patterns and the colours, which we can bring around to architectural offices and studios. And we're also working on getting smaller sort of formatted sample swatches as well that we will be able to bring around in the coming weeks.
Cool. Thanks, Alana. The next question looks probably fairly tailored towards you, Ben. So someone here has commented that they love the connection to the Clontarf Foundation. How do we ensure our project is credited towards social procurement goals if we specify the range?
Yeah, so to recap on what we said in the panel discussion, 15% of the sale price of the compact laminate in the project can be credited towards social procurement goals, as this is going to First Nations owned organisations, which include Clontarf and Blaklash. But if you do have a plan and want to know a dollar figure on what that means, please send it through to us and we can advise what the cost of the compact would be on that project. And obviously the potential contribution, the compact is obviously just one component or one of the materials in the cubicle construction. So that's why you'll need our help to advise you on it. We're also setting up for people's interest, an inbuilt live tracker of the impact of the overall initiative on our website, so you can see it coming to life there.
Cool. Thanks, Ben. The next question seems to be tailored towards the full height self-contained partitioning systems. So how does this reduce work and coordination of trades on site? I might pass that to you again, Ben, if that's all right.
Yeah, cool. So it reduces the work because it removes the need for stud walls and traditional doors between self-contained cubicles, which is often what designers and construction companies will use when they want to put a basin in the cubicle. So obviously removes from the scope plasterboard, carpentry, painting involved in building those walls, but also simplifies the work for electrical and plumbing, as the services need to be roughed in before the cubicles are installed, but then we'll give them the locations based on their shop drawings, and then the prefabricated access panels make it easy for them to fit off.
Cool. Thanks, Ben. Also on that system, we've got that the full height self-contained product seems to have a lot of hygiene benefits. Is the vanity surface antimicrobial?
Yeah, it is. So it is made from DuraSafe compact laminate, the entire system, including the vanity benchtop itself. And this compact laminate is actually antibacterial, antifungal, and antivirus as well. And it is also scratch and impact resistant too. So we'll sort of coordinate with the other finishes and the other systems in your areas as well.
Cool. For the accessible ironing station, the question here we've got is, how do you actually move the board up and down? Is it via remote? I might throw to you, Ben, if you're happy to give us the answer on that.
Yeah, okay. So the ironing board is removed up and down using a button underneath the ironing board, very similar to a stand-up desk. Most people are familiar with now, that moves up and down with a simple button, but it is because of electric motor. It's electric powered. Cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Nice and easy answer, that one. For player lockers, we've had one come in that says, what is the lead time on the sports lockers? Ben, did you want to carry on with that one as well?
Yeah, I'll grab that one. So the lead time on a sports locker is the same as our cubicle systems, which is 3 to 4 weeks following when the site is ready for check measure, because the products are made bespoke for the site. So once the site is ready to measure, 3 to 4 weeks until they're installed. But obviously, if there is a specific requirement, the team's always happy to talk you through it and make sure we deliver what you need. If it does need to be sooner than that, always open for a chat.
Cool. The only other one I can see here at the moment for the player lockers would be, can these lockers be customized with team logos or specific colors, or are they only available in a standard sports range? Alana, did you want to take that one?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, these lockers can be customized to enhance the user experience in sporting facilities and clubs, and they can be customized with any of DuraCube's colored range, whether that's stocked or specifier exclusive. The Western Bears Football Club, which was featured in the panel discussion video as well, did actually have custom player names and the club logos as well on above the player seating areas.
Cool. I've got another one here. Does DuraCube offer design workshops or lunch and learns if our firm wants to see these prototypes in person?
Yeah, definitely. We are very active, and myself as one of the specification managers as well, in sort of the design workshops and the lunch and learn space. We currently do have 3 formal CPDs available as well, which we can present face-to-face in architectural offices, as well as general product presentations as well.
Cool. Thanks, Alana. One has just come through as well. Does DuraCube have a modular, predetermined, accessible or ambient toilet layout that can be largely prefabricated to AS 1428.1 requirements, or are we thinking of doing something similar?
Yeah, I can grab that one if you want, Nick. So thanks, Grant, for the question. We do have a standard system that works for an ambient cubicle. We don't currently have a system that does work for an accessible cubicle. And just to make a point on that, the cubicle that we just showed you, the self-contained cubicle with the basin, does comply with the requirements for an ambient cubicle. So it is the right width, and also to assist you in documenting it, we do have the Revit files, which also default to the correct width. If you change it to an ambient toilet, it will snap to the correct width, provide you compliant circulation spaces as well.
Cool. Thank you, Ben.